15, lesson 5. So module 15, lesson 5, and you'll find that on page 409. Today's objective is to add fractions and mixed numbers using the properties of addition. So just remember, commutative property is pretty much when you can add the numbers in any order that works for you. And then associative property, we're combining two numbers so that we can mentally add. So let's jump in. The Watson family cross-country skis on all 3 trails in this park. How many miles do they ski? Let's look at A. Write an addition equation for the problem. Use D for the total distance. So we're going to use our information in our picture to help us. We have 4 and 8/10 plus 3 and 5/10 plus 2 and 2/10. And D is our distance. Use the commutative property to order the mixed numbers so that the fractions that add to 1 are next to each other. So we want to come up with which two are going to add, when we add the numerators together, are going to make one whole. Well, we notice that our denominator is 10. So in order for us to make a whole, we have to have 10 as our numerator. Looking at 2 of our numerators, we can see that 8 plus 2 gives us 10. So we're going to put these two numbers together. So we're going to say 4 and 8/10 plus 2 and 2/10. We're just reordering the numbers to make it easier to add. All right, now we're going to use the associative property to group the mixed numbers that you can add mentally. So I want to put the 2 sets of mixed numbers that I can add mentally in parentheses. Well, we already said that we know we add 8 and 2, it's going to give us 10, which is going to make a whole number. So we're just going to put parentheses around those 2 mixed numbers. And now we're going to solve. So if we say 4 8/10 plus 2 and 2/10. I'm just going to rewrite that equation. So we know that 8 and 2 gives us 10, so 10/10 equals a whole. So we have 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 more whole is 7. And then we're going to add 3 and 5/10, and that's going to give us 10 and 5/10 miles. All right, let's go to page 410 and let's keep practicing that skill. Allie practices ice skating for 1 1/4 hours on Monday, 2 1/4 hours on Tuesday, and 3/4 hour on Wednesday. How many hours does she spend practicing skating? Let's look at A. Write an equation you could use to solve this problem. We can say 1 1/4 plus 2/4 plus 3/4. All right, B. What property can you use to change the order of the add-ins? If we're changing the orders, we're using commutative property. We want to rewrite the equation so the fractions and the fractional parts that add to 1 are next to each other or added first. So we want to create that whole again. So going back and looking at our first equation, we have a denominator of 4. So in order to make a whole, we have to have 4/4. So which 2 numerators added together are going to give us 4/4? Well, we see that 1 and 3. So we're going to put these 2 fractions together. So we'll start with 2/4. And then we're going to put 1 1/4 beside 3/4. So that's the commutative property. Then we're going to use the associative property. And this time we're going to regroup, and we're going to use parentheses to group the add-ins together. So we had 2/4, and we want to mentally add these 2 fractions together. So we're going to put a parentheses around them. And then we're just going to solve. So let's look at our equation up here. We have 1 1/4 plus 3/4. Well, we know that when we add 1 and 3, that gives us 4. and we have a denominator of 4. So we know that 4/4 equals 1 whole. So now we're going to add our whole numbers together. So we have 1 and 1 makes 2. So we're going to say 2/4 plus 2, and our answer would be 2 2/4 hours. All right, pause the video and try check understanding on your own. When you're finished, you can turn the video back on and check your answers. Okay, you should have had an opportunity to do 1 through 3 on your own. So let's check this work. Roz has 4 5/8 pounds of tomatoes, 2 1/8 pounds of green peppers, and 1 3/8 pounds of onions that he will use to make salsa. How many pounds of ingredients does he have? So we're adding all this information together. Show your work. So we're going to start with our first equation of 4 5/8 plus 2 1/8 plus 1 3/8. We don't know the answer just yet. Now let's use the associative property and let's combine so that we can do some mental addition. So I know that I have 8 in my denominator. So if I have 8 in my denominator, I'm going to see if I can take 2 numerators and add them together to get 8. Because if I have 8 eighths, I can make 1 whole. And as you see, I can do that with these 2 numbers. So I'm going to come down here and rewrite that. Let's rewrite that equation. Okay. So now let's add the first 2 together. So I know that 5 plus 3 is going to give me 8. So 8 eighths equals a whole. So now we have 4 wholes plus 1 whole plus 1 whole. So 4 plus 1 gives us 6 plus 2 1/8. So the answer is going to be 8 1/8 pounds. All right, number 2, use the properties and mental math to find the sum. Okay, so let's look and see what we have here. We can include these 2 together. We can use associative property. We can say 1 3/4, and we can combine to make a whole, so that would be 3. So 4. Let's start that over. 4 3/4. All right, number 3, we're going to combine again. We're trying to make 6 6 so that we can make a whole. So we're going to rewrite this equation. So we can take 5 and 1 and make that 6 6, which would equal a whole. So we have 4 plus 1 is 6, plus 3 2 6, which would give us 9 2 6. Remember, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your teachers.